Hello, my name is Serena Rehal. I'm here on behalf of Sizes of Matter. We're a co-sponsoring organization of today's event in partnership with the Consulate General of Israel in Toronto, and as well our host, the Rex. So I'd like to welcome you to Directing Duos Dynamic Teams at TIFF. This is our second annual event presenting the Israeli talent that's here in town for the Toronto International Film Festival. I'd like to welcome Rebecca Singh onto the stage now.
Thank you very much, Serena. I'm giving her hand signals from the side. I hope everyone can see us. Hello to everybody watching online, and welcome. Thank you very much for joining us on the live stream. I'm very excited about this panel today, and very happy to welcome the filmmakers who are here and actor in one of the films for TIFF. It's certainly a prestigious honor, and we're also quite honored to be able to share them with you all today. So thank you all for coming, and I also want to make sure to thank Size Doesn't Matter, the whole team there, for partnering with us on this event for the second year in a row. And I also want to thank very much the Rex, they're a wonderful host. If you haven't been down to the Rex and you're watching online, you should certainly come. And it is my great pleasure to welcome our moderator, who is Dean Movshevich. He is the Director of Film and Media for Israel's Office of Cultural Affairs based in New York, and he will be moderating the discussion and introducing all of our talented guests today. So I hope you enjoy.
Thank you, Rebecca, and thank you all of you for coming to today. Thank you, Size Doesn't Matter. And I'll start by quickly introducing our respectable panel who are here with two wonderful films, The Farewell Party and Get, The Trial of Ibn Amsalem. To my left is Shlomi Elkabetz. He is the co-director and co-writer of Get. It is the third film in a trilogy of films that he has co-directed and co-wrote with his sister, Ronit Elkabetz, who is also acting in the movie. We'll talk a little more about how they work in the trilogy as a whole later. Get premiered in Cannes this year in the director's Fortnight program and is nominated for 12 Israeli Academy Awards, including one for Menashe, who's sitting to the left of Shlomi Elkabetz. Menashe is one of the most familiar, respectable, hardworking Israeli actors. You could recently have seen him in Policeman and Big Bad Wolves. He will forever be known in Israel for being part of one of Israel's best satire shows, The Kamarek 5, and is, as I said, he's the lead actor in Get. To his left we have Sharon Maymon, who is one of the distinct comedic voices in Israeli cinema. He co-directed, co-wrote The Matter of Size, which was a film from a couple of years back, which is now being in development for a remake in Hollywood. He later partnered with Tal Granit. They directed two shorts, also darkly humoristic, together, and they also worked together, wrote and directed together The Farewell Party, which premiered yesterday at the festival, and is fresh out of Venice with 2 awards, the Audience Award and the Humanistic Award. Is that correct? So let's give them all a warm welcome. So the panel is called Dynamic Duos, and it's mostly referring to the sort of unusual fact that both of these films are directed by 2 people. In Shlomi and Ronit's case, their brother and sister, and in Sharon and Tal's, their collaborative partners. And I would like to start by addressing that process. How does it work when you have 2 directors on set? How do you work together? Menashe, what's it like to work with 2 directors instead of 1? Is it double the trouble or half the fun? And just sort of inform us a little more about this process and why you chose to co-direct and co-write your film with someone else. Anyone can start.
How is it to direct in 2? It's you know, when a director works on when you have an idea as a director, you start to adopt the idea within yourself. You know, you have some kind of you have a vision or something you want to say or something you want to do, and it's very internal, and it's very difficult to. It's always one of the problems is to take out what you think within yourself, what you think you want to do and how you think things are supposed to look or to sound like, and you have to put it out and converse it with your team, with your actors, with everyone. When you're two, there's two processes that are happening at the same time, and first you have to make this internal line connection between the two directors and then take it out. So actually, on that sense, there's something really, really healthy and easy when you work with someone that you want to work with, of course, because you don't always want to work with someone. And then you converse the things in between yourself before you put it out to the team of the film. What happened to me and to Ronit, because when we started to do To Take a Wife, we actually lived together. I mean, Ronit was living in Paris, I was living in New York. We met in New York, we wrote it, and then we moved to Israel to direct the film, and we took an apartment together. Actually, and we lived for 8 months together in this apartment. A very small apartment, like 25 meter, and we spent day and night together, and we talked a lot. And what happened in Get, for example, which is like 10 years later, 10 years of work, of community work together, today we hardly talk. We don't talk. Good morning, good evening, and that's it. But it's not because we don't have anything to say to each other. It's because today it's almost enough that we look at each other to understand what we like or what we want in the process. And we have to remember that Ronit and I are coming from the same family, same parents, same smells, same food, same hometown, same eyes, same hair when I had hair, and so on. So it's like. It's very, very interesting. It's very interesting to work together.
For me, this is the second time that I'm working together, co-writing and co-directing. Previously, I worked with Ellis more on A Matter of Size, and I had 4 films together with Tal Granit, and we were doing everything together, from the writing. When you're writing, there is a brainstorming, and it's like we are the audience of each other. We're writing a dramedy, so there are jokes. So when I'm writing a joke and she's laughing, we know that it's working, and the opposite. And we're doing everything together since the script. Sometimes we are arguing about one word in a sentence for 2 weeks, but when we are on the set, it's like I think it's like we're one person, because we're doing when we are writing, it's like we know how we will direct it, and we're very strict dialogue on the set, and we're drawing the storyboard together, and so we know exactly what we're doing when we are on the set, and even with the actors, if the actors have a question, they're coming from both.
You want to say something from the actor's point of view?
I knew Ronit and Shlomi for a long time, and maybe because they are sister and brother, I found that they came from this very close point of view. They know very well the word that they are talking about. They know very well all the nuances. It's even something that it's a secret language between them. And from the beginning, even the rehearsal, when they order lunch, takeaway, it was very interesting to see how they eat together. Everyone from each, and they talk in very, very intimate language. And it was very magnificent for me to see on the set, everyone take his part, because Ronit, she's most of the time she's also the actress. Shlomi take her about everything, but everything is passed by the eyes of Ronit. And they know, because I sat all the time close to Ronit, I heard all the conversation between them, that they talk about how things have to be, how the clothes, how the movements of the actors, everything, how I call it, is the same point of view. And I think there was only 2 times or 1 time that I made 1 take for Shlomi and 1 take for me. And for me, it's okay because I'm flexible.
What's in the film?
Yeah.
Your take or her?
I don't know which thing he's talking about.
That's the diplomatic answer.
Do you remember the day?
No,
Remember which one was it?
I think it was 1 time. Okay.
No, it's true.
Do you remember what was the difference between the takes? Like what were the different point of views?
The nuance of, you know, the key of the acting,
Okay.
something like that.
Okay. I find this very interesting because
More
you.
expressive, no, less expressive.
Okay.
For me and for Ronit, we're very fusional. How you say? We're very close. Like sometimes we sit in the editing room and we see a take, and she tells me, you see, I told you, we should do it this way. So I said, I'm sorry, it was my idea. It's not your idea.
Yeah.
This is my take. It was not like, no, it was mine. And then instead of editing, we argue for half an hour. Whose take was it? You know. But then, honestly, you know, when I watch the film, I would never be able to say this was Ronit's decision or my decision. We really take decisions together throughout the process of the work, and whatever you see in the film, it's something that we choose together. Eventually, it's what you choose to put in the film, and that's the whole idea of when you make the film. You can try many things, and we like to shoot a lot. We shot, our producers are here, Sandrine Barber and Marie and Asmote, and they know we shot 100 hours for this film. It's like a lot. But it depends what you put in the film, how you choose to present it. That's the film. It's more than, eventually, it's more than what you shoot on the set. It's how you edit it and what you choose to put in, and we choose together. So.
Let's say that in my experience as an actor, I work with single directors that were more neurotic than that. It was a lot of opinions in their mind. And there is another good thing for the actor, that sometimes when you make something and Ronit didn't like it, but Shlomi told me to do that.
Like a child whose father tells him to go to bed, so he goes to the mother.
But did you ever, when you wanted to do something and someone told you no, did you ever go to one of us to try to trick it outside of it? It's interesting, we never spoke about it.
I didn't.
Sure.
I really like the image, Menashe, of what you said about Shlomi and Ronit each having their own dish they ordered and taking a piece of each other. And that makes me wonder if when you're working with your co-director, do you feel that way, that each of you is bringing, like, do they bring something or compensate or make up for something, some sort of sensibility or skill or theme or point of view that you don't have or you don't understand, especially in this case we're talking about 2 men and 2 women. Do you feel like there's that sort of yin and yang sometimes in between? Like, what do you feel your co-directors brought in that you couldn't or that you didn't have, and you happily adopted?
It was a long question.
I think that I bring the main point of view, and she's bringing the women point of view. And people told us before that when they're seeing our films, it's like they're talking about the characters, that they are, when you see a woman, she's really a woman, and when you see a man, she's really a man. It's like when, it's not like when a man writing a woman. So maybe it's about the nuance of the character, the female and the male.
Okay.
It's interesting. No, for us it's different in that sense.
You're the woman?
I'm also the woman. No, but no, it's like we don't take. I can say that in our work we don't take responsibilities. It's not because I'm the man. I will tell Menashe how to create the manly character, and or Ronit will be the one to determine what. I know it's not what you said, but
no, I really talked about the dialogue.
So for us, there is no, there isn't some kind of division of a woman point of view or the man point of view. It's just different. I don't know how to explain it. It's not like what's more for us. What is more into the process of the work is that we are brother and sister, and that goes into the work more than a man or a woman point of view. I don't know if I was clear about it, but it's more, I think the essence of our relationship pours into the work rather than our gender. Maybe, I don't know.
I think that the most important thing in the directing, when I found myself in the same problems all over my career, that the director, most of the director has a vision. And the problem is not if you have a vision or not. You have a vision. The problem of the director is how to bring all the stuff to create this vision. And the main problem is with the actors because it's very abstract, a lot of abstract. And maybe because she's an actress, and also Shlomi has a very good understanding to the actor's work. I told yesterday Shlomi that it was very pleased to work with them because in every take they didn't talk to us like, okay, you did this take, now give me something else, or give me something more, or give me less. Or he didn't say, okay, do your job. You feel every time that Ronit and Shlomi and me myself and the other actors, well, we did, and let's create now a new thing. And let's create, and you feel all the time that you are in a very creative atmosphere. This is the way that they work. So I did told myself, look, he's a man, she's a woman, I'm an actor, she's a director. It was something that we, all the time we feel that there is creative brains that create something that they know where they want to go. So that was the way.
And as Shlomi said earlier, the need to communicate these to your fellow directors sort of makes the process shorter. Instead of just the director thinks to everyone, you and Ronit or you and Tal already went through it together. So it probably made the expression of the vision that much easier. Another thing that both of these films have in common is they both touch upon somewhat controversial issues. In Get's case, it's the Institute of Rabbinical Marriage in Israel, and in the For All Parties case, it's euthanasia. And I was wondering, once you realize that your films or scripts, your performance are going to be revolving, touching, dealing with these matters, how did you approach that? How did you relate to that? And if there was something during the process of making the movie, whether in writing, production, or editing, that you took out because you felt it went too far, maybe a joke, maybe perhaps one of the judges in the courtroom, I don't know, anything you had that sort of you felt crossed the line?
When we wrote the script from the beginning, from the idea, people told us, how can you do a dramedy or a comedy about euthanasia? No one did it before, it's very dangerous, it's like you're playing with fire, how can you do it? And he told us, no one did it before you. And he told them, maybe that's the reason that we're doing it. When we wrote it, we didn't feel that we are dealing with a controversial subject, because we had, the idea came from a personal story. Came from the death of Helga. She was the grandma of my ex-boyfriend, and she died at the age of 76, and she died from cancer, and we were there in the day that she died, and the paramedics came into the room. They tried to resuscitate her, and we were there with her, and it was so absurd, this moment, like they were fighting for her life, like she was 16 years old. Even her son said that if they are bringing her back to life, they should take it with them. And from this absurd moment, the idea of the film came. And so it's like when you're writing a personal idea, you just want to tell the story, and you don't think about if it's controversial or not. You just have something to tell, and you're telling it. Okay.
It's nice. Story about it's sad, but it's nice. I guess it's funny. It could be funny as well. We didn't see the films yet, but I want to see Sharon's film. You know, when you do films like Farewell Party or just about talking about the subject, you know, everything that is controversial, or something that is out of the law. There is some kind of an absurdity that goes along with it, and you kind of stick into it. For us, it was clear that we are dealing with also with an essential right, like Sharon in Sharon's films. I guess it's the right to die. You know, in our film, it's the right to live. You know, and then we go through, and then I think that everything we did throughout the way. When we wrote the script, immediately we laughed a lot. We laughed and we cried also, but we laughed a lot because there was the absurdity of the situation is incomprehensible. It's this man who decides whether he will decide for the verdict, and this man is the defendant, and it's by his hand whether this woman will be free or not. And I think from that moment on, we surpassed every limit that we could throughout the film. You know. Also, by describing the reality of the situation, we passed many borders because the tribunal, how you say it, the courts are closed in Israel. The rabbinic courts are closed, and there is, I mean, you cannot enter. So the minute we give this key to the audience to cross this door, then we surpass this border, and then from then on, you know, for every character, in a way, they try to break something. Menashe's character also, but what's nice is that the minute somebody tries to break the system the system breaks it back. You know, there's like there's a constant fight, and maybe in Sharon's film, I didn't see it, so correct me if I'm wrong. Sharon's film, there is something that is. That it's more of there is some kind of also a fantasy of a group of people that might go for this. It's like a wishful thinking, you know, and it's a fantasy wishful thinking, and in our film it's a realistic wishful thinking. And I think the film will create. I'm sure that when people are going to see Sharon's film, they're going to say, yes, I want my right to die. And I'm sure that when women in Israel are going to be exposed for get, they're going to be very, very angry, extremely angry. You know, like we see it already. We're going to do, like, for example, a big convention at the beginning of November in Israel, in Bar Ilan, with the Minister of Justice and many parliament members and the whole board of justice in Israel. And they're going to make an event throughout the film, talking through the film about the situation and trying to change it. Meaning, these films are moving something. I don't know how they will if they will change the reality, but for sure the making of the film surpassed the borders that you're talking about.
Would it be helpful if we could get a little synopsis of your film and your film?
A quick one.
A quick one.
It's a woman who wants to get a divorce, and it's important to know that in Israel there is no civil law, there is only a religious law, and it's only for the husband to decide whether she will get the divorce or not. And then the whole story is in this court, and she wants to get a divorce, and he says no. And then we have to wait until he says yes.
And your film goes further than that.
What we see, we are witnessing 17 court discussions throughout 5 years of this time this woman is waiting. So this is what the film.
Yeah, the film is entirely set within the courtroom. It covers the span of 5 years. It comes in and out of the different sessions they have in front of 3 judges, rabbinical judges, who sort of run the proceedings. Sharon, would you like to give a short synopsis?
Yes. The third part is about a group of pensioners from a nursing home in Jerusalem. They decide to help their dying friend to end his life with dignity, and then they are inventing a self-euthanasia machine. And after they're doing it, the rumor about the secret machine spreads out, and more people are asking for their help.
And what are the
Ma'am, we will have time for questions from the audience afterwards, at the end, near the end. Okay?
Just one step further, are you doing something counter to society as well, to establishment? Are you breaking new ground?
What the lady is trying to say, she's asking if euthanasia is accepted in Israel. It is illegal in Israel.
It's illegal in Israel. I think that we have a passive euthanasia because today a person can ask not to be connected to a device that prolongs life. So it's a passive euthanasia. But we already had 3 cases of patients that was disconnected from those devices. Yes, but it's illegal.
So another question I'd like to ask, you're mentioning that the film's about a group of pensioners, about senior citizens, and it struck me when watching the movie that both A Matter of Size and The Farewell Party both deal with 2 groups that aren't usually represented in film. A Matter of Size is a comedy about a group of obese people in a Weight Watchers program who decide to quit the program to become sumo wrestlers. And in both cases about groups who you don't see a lot in film, and in both cases, in a way, they sort of reject society's image on them and grab some form of independence. And I wanted to ask you, why do you think you're drawn to these kind of people? Is this conscience? And also, what's like working with senior actors? Because I think there's something liberating, amongst all the bad things that happen with old age, there's something liberating about it. They don't need to care as much about their looks, their image, stuff like that. So I was wondering if you felt that during the filming.
I don't think that we're choosing the ideas for our film, or we're choosing to work with young heavyweight actors or old actors. As I said, the idea just came from things that happens in our life. In A Matter of Size, I wanted to write a script about coming out of the closet, and I was in the closet. So how can you write a film about coming out when you're in the closet? So I wrote a script about coming out of the closet of shame for heavyweight people. And about the second questions, it's funny when there is a nudity scenes in our films, and the actors are over 70, and we gave them the script. And they didn't make a scene out of it. It was natural for them when they wrote the script. But Levana Finkelstein, when she was very young, something like 18, she was playing in an Israeli film in the 70s. And she had a nudity scene there, and they took a model. And in our film, she felt it's like a natural for her to take her clothes and to do the nudity scene. So maybe they felt more comfortable with their body when they're older.
It's interesting. And as I talked about your body work, I also like to talk a bit about the trilogy of films. Now, Shlomi and Roni's trilogy that started with To Take a Woman, continued with 7 Days or Shiva, and now is ending with Get. They all deal with the same big Moroccan, if I'm not mistaken, family, and you have characters coming in and out of the 3 films, recurring characters. And I was wondering, when in the work on the 2 previous films, did the idea for Get come along? Did you always had it in mind, or did something in the work on Seven brought you upon to need to tell this story?
Well, we didn't need to take a wife. No, it's okay. And it's a Moroccan family, and then we had 3 films in our minds. We knew that we want to make a trilogy. It's very bizarre in that sense, because usually, when somebody says, I want to make a film, you say, okay. Somebody says, I want to make 3 films, you're like, okay. It's like, but we did have 3 films in our heads. We didn't have the story completely, of course, and it was not even sure that we will make the first film. So, but we did have the stories. We knew that it was obvious that To Take a Wife would be a film about this character Vivian, and about her inner request about whether she can be free or not. And it's between one woman and herself. And then we knew that Shiva. We had the idea of Shiva. The family is mourning for one of the brothers. Then we wrote the story, of course, and that was between one woman and a society and a family. And we knew that get Vivian from Prendre Femme, from To Take a Wife, will ask for a divorce in front of the law, meaning the 3 stages of trying to be free. The inner one, the social one, and then the legal one, the lawful one, in front of the state. But each one of the scripts were written on the go. But they were very clear from the beginning, and if you see the first scene of To Take a Wife, you see all the films. The first scene of To Take a Wife, you see Vivian in the kitchen, you see all her family around her. She says, I want to get a divorce. Then they tell her, okay, go back to the living room, talk to your husband. Like, but why would he give you a divorce, and why would the rabbi give you a divorce? So it's all, the whole, 7 days and To Take a Wife and Get are all in the first scene of, we declared it on the first scene of To Take a Wife. It was declared then. And the process is the process. It always, it takes time to really understand what you want to do, how you want to do it, and how you want to continue.
Okay, it's very interesting. I think our last topic before I open it up for questions would be to talk a little bit about the visual style of the movies. As I mentioned, Get is all in one room. I was wondering, as an actor, as a writer, as a director, how did you approach that? How did you, because there's something very bare about that, just have the happenings, and about the farewell party, which is shot in these sort of very dark tones. I was wondering, how did you approach the sort of style of cinematography, sort of realist, but not quite something, not surreal, but maybe, like you said, like wishful thinking, or almost like a legend, like a fable. I was wondering if you could, the 3 of you, address these issues.
Yes, we wanted to have the feeling of a fairy tale in the movie, like a modern fairy tale. So we chose the right cinematographer. So his previous work, and we knew that he can do it. We drew everything. We stayed very strict to the storyboard, and we decided to do, from the beginning, we wanted to do it in a studio. We didn't want it to be very realistic. So we drew everything, and then Arad Shawat, the art design, built it, and we could choose the exact colors, and we can put everything in the place, because when you're working in a studio, it's like we're inventing everything, and you can, whatever you dream, it's you have it. And I think that we had in our mind, we saw the film like a comic. We were working with pictures, so it was very easy to do it this way.
Just to quickly follow up on that, so if going back to what you said earlier about wishful thinking, so do you see what's happening in the film as something that you like to see happening, or is it something that you wanna give as some sort of empathy and comfort to people who are in those situations? Like, is it something you'd like to see people go after? Is the fairy tale is reality that could happen? אם זה, אתה רואה את זה כמעשייה פוטנציאלית, או כמשהו שבאמת עלול, יכול, אולי צריך לקרות?
It's something that happens in the world, in Tunisia. It's not something in the fairy tales. there is a tourist suicide in Switzerland, in Oregon. There is it's in the law, the mercy killing. Today in Israel, members of the there are groups in Israel that are trying to pass a law, a euthanasia law, that the doctor he will have the right to give a prescription to a dying man. It's really happening. I mean, it's a subject that we are all dealing with. We will all die at the end, and and even in Israel, if it's Tunisia, it's illegal, but it's a gray area. I know lots of people that the doctor gave them anesthetic in a dosage that killed them. They knew their right the day that the person will die. But it's out of the law, and it depends on the doctor that will end your life.
Shlomi and Menashe, you want to talk about having the film in one room and how you use that for drama? Both of you.
Look, it was very interesting experience because it was like a laboratory. For the character and for me as an actor. We found ourselves in a building in July 2030 for 1 month and a week or something like that. 1 month and
8
a week.
weeks. It's good that you...
4, 5?
8.
8 weeks?
Yes.
2. It was
good.
You know,
Take it as a compliment.
Very fast, huh? So we found ourselves in the same room, and Shlomi and Ronit asked all the actors to be in the room in every scene. It means that even they didn't shoot you, they didn't take your you wanted to take, you were in the room. So we feel the same atmosphere of claustrophobic of the story, and we were more and more by the time in a very intensive, and we listen to every sentence and to everything, and the reaction became more and more natural day by day. So it was very interesting because, you know, most of the films you come in the morning and then you put yourself in the situation, and then you try to remember what happened before and what happened the
This
next.
film, you come in the morning and Shlomi and Ronit are gathering everyone and say, you must be serious.
Yeah.
You have to work.
Actually, you
You know,
must be
you
serious.
must be serious.
Yeah, the film is on your shoulder. Come on, be concentration, and you don't feel to be. You immediately become inside. Most of the time, we talk about all the actors because every film that Ronit and Shlomi did before, they take an aesthetic mission. In Shiva, they make it with
Every scene was one shot.
In one shot, and you see everyone. And in this film, they decide to take the point of view. Me, okay, to go to and we talk about it all the time, the actors and Shlomi, and ask question, the philosophical question. It means, okay, the story is not in one point of view. You have the situation, and the whole situation, people look at it from their point of view, see it from their side. So it was another thing that we think all about, and you have to think that it makes the work very interesting because the same scene or the same dialogue I made one time in the point of view of the brother of the husband, Sason Gabay, and one time I made the same dialogue from the point of view of Vivian, and one time in the point of view of the witness or from the judge. And somehow in the first time I paid attention, something that I knew that we talk like I'm talking to you now, that you say the same word, but you think about the one that you tell him the dialogue. And in spite of the fact that I talked to the judge, I had to I knew that the camera is here, and the camera is the point of view of Vivian, and the camera see my nose or my ear, but it makes me conscious that I play for Vivian. I argue with, I make my sentence to the judge, but I know that Vivian now, she's looking at me. So every time I got a new feeling in every take. And I hope that I made my work.
You did. You did. No, it's true.
So this was the interesting mission in this film.
What we did in the room, we actually, like Menashe explained, we stretched the actors. Meaning, I tell Menashe to talk to Sandrine, but I look at him, and he has to talk to Sandrine, but he knows that he's being examined by me. Meaning, we stretch him without directing his emotions or feelings, or telling him, this today you feel like this, or you want to do this, or you want this woman to be free and you will do. We never spoke about psychology whatsoever. We didn't care about what's the wish of the actor, or what is objective, or what is his action. We just try to stretch them, And so to create, because we never took a director's shot in this film. There isn't a master shot of what is happening in the room. There is only point of views, meaning you only see what somebody is looking at. So it has to be influenced or affected by someone's look. And then you can treat maybe this court, or you can treat this film almost like a sculpture. It's like a sculpture, and every look is curving the space. It's curving the space and creating a different emotion until you have a sort of an emotional grasp of the space. And that was the directorial decision that we made. And what was interesting to find out throughout the shoot is usually it's true that when you change the point of view in the cinema, you change the reality, or you change the truth of the moment. But what was very interesting to find is that we constantly changing the point of view within the room. But there is one thing that always remains very solid, and it's the fact that this woman entitles her freedom. And whenever you change the point of view, you don't change this truth. And maybe this is one thing that created a very solid truth for the film. The search of Vivian for her freedom. And beside that, it was very interesting. 2 months in one room. This every morning. We're very hard to please, because we always think that people are trying to look at their SMSs, and everybody has and we were very kindergartens a little at the beginning, and Menashe, don't look at the SMS. It's I told you a lot, don't look at the SMS, this, don't look at it. It was very annoying for me whenever anyone was trying to be, I felt like but the truth is, they were not. They were just living in this room for fucking 2 months, so they have to check their SMS, and they were in this room with us, and it was very, very intense. And I think that thanks to their
devotion,
thanks to their devotion, we managed to go through this process, and they were very, very devoted to our wishes and wills, the crew and everyone.
In our case, our producer told us, me and Tal, stop with the SMS.
I came to my to Sandrine Brauer, the producer, and I said, the DP is always SMSing in between the shots. You know, she's always SMSing. I'm not used to it. It was very like annoying for me. But you know, they said, yeah, okay, relax. I said, you know, the work is done. It's, you know, the filmmaking is very. You want everybody to be there. You want everyone to exist. The people exist. It's you know, they do it. You're just afraid a little. You know, you're scared that it's not happening. So you try to climb into things that will give you some kind of a security, but it's really impossible to get it maybe.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the audience here? Yeah, Karen. What can you say?
Oh, I can speak loudly.
I'll repeat it.
Okay. So these are both difficult subjects and challenging to a certain population. Do you have any issues with concern about funding for these films based on the fact that they are difficult issues?
I'll quickly repeat the question because both of these films have sort of sensitive issues. Where the filmmakers are being asked if it was hard for them to get funding for the projects.
Just a moment.
He's texting.
Well, we approached with the synopsis to the Israeli Film Fund, and we got money to write a script. So from the idea, we knew that the lectors liked our story. So it gave us confidence to continue and write the script. And we passed in the first presentation. They gave us the money. But I think, when our German producer went to find money in Germany, they asked us to. They had a problem with I think that they had a slightly problem with the issue. They asked us to change the name of the script. It was My Sweet Euthanasia. Now it's the farewell party. In Hebrew it says Mitat Hara.
Which means a good death.
Good death.
Yeah, but finally they really liked the script, and we have a German co-production. We got the MDM Film Fund from Germany.
For us, it's a long story. There's a book that can be written about. Really, I'm not joking, but about the whole process. But it's a very big co-production, and Israel was last to come in. First money came from France by producers I presented, and we had like basically we didn't have any issues getting money. It was like the full Monty, more or less. We didn't have any issues, right? I mean,
Now, the thing is that.
Sorry, we just have a question back here.
oh, no, we didn't finish the. No, it's not a question. It's an answer. It's the producer of the film.
No, I think, well, you're saying the full Monty, but I think more or less the script was a page turner to each of the partners that we handled the script to. So the bottom line is that we had to pick the partners that we wanted to work with. So, and I would say that the only question they had, everybody was in shock with the topic. Everybody was wondering whether it was true or not. Most of the dialogue was about to understand whether it is actual, it's happening, is it happening now? It was more about the whole process of the trial, of the get, of understanding if it's from a very specific Jewish community or if it's everywhere in Israel. I think that was most of the question. Everybody was so much in shock that, I mean, actually it was a yes, so the only conversation was about that.
But getting the context. Okay.
Are you Monique?
Do we have? Yes.
What's your name? I'm Sandrine. And would you involve with this?
She's the producer of the film. And Marie Masmonte and Sandrine Bauer, the producers of the film. Because it's a co-production between French, Israel, and Germany. So we had a lot of French partners, conducted by Sandrine and Marie.
Israel was last to come in.
Yeah, and then we had some money coming in from Germany, and the Israeli partnership came in last.
We got
They
another
were
question.
willing to give the money, there was no problem, but it just came in last because we started, it's also a little personal, it has something to do with another film that Sandrine and I did before, but we won't go into it, but eventually we got it.
Hi.
We've got another question here.
So, I'm a director and a writer. I've been going to Israel for years, workshopping a murder mystery, film noir, working with a lot of actors in Israel, and I met Shimon Shai, who Sharon knows, and we're going to co-direct the feature that I wrote, and we were meeting in Israel this summer, going through the very questions that you're talking about. I'm a director who directed, I'm basically a screenwriter, but I've directed a lot of TV alone. Suddenly, a partner, let alone from another culture, but we've connected artistically through a workshop that I did. So my question is really very selfish in a good way. In Canada, somebody's saying to me here from one of the Kevin, one of the funds, we don't believe in co-directors, or just casually, informally, we haven't applied yet. And so I'm thinking, where's my ammunition now? And because it's become very common now.
The Cohen brothers, the Darden brothers, Taviani brothers.
Exactly. These are
Elkabetz.
Exactly, Elkabetz.
You have a lot of good ammunition.
I agree. Well, I'm looking for more. So I would ask for your advice about what you learned that you do differently. What lessons you've learned that may not have worked, from the experience as you move forwards, that I can take to my partner and say, this is something to talk about. For example, storyboard. Does it work for you? Do you believe in it? Does it help you to come together? More so because it's two of you. Number one. Number two, rehearsal. Did you have time for rehearsal? Did it help you because you were two? And anything else, I know it's hard to put you on the spot about it, but I'm very interested in a practical way because I believe it, I know it's going to work, but I want to learn. And I also sat down with Navot from Big Bad Wolves after Rabies, which got me thinking about this whole possibility.
This is our last question, so just quickly, everyone make the case for co-directing.
Ammunition.
I don't know. We don't do storyboard.
No storyboard.
No storyboard. We do shooting. We do shooting scripts. We work on light together. We work with the actors together. Rehearsals. Usually we had the privilege to rehearse on set this time because we had a lot of shooting days. So we rehearsed on set. Very few rehearsals before. It's a good power, you're two.
What did you learn that didn't work?
That didn't work? What did I learn that didn't work?
Maybe nothing, it's okay.
Well,
I don't know. I don't know. It worked well for me. I really, if it didn't work well, I would not do 3 films with my sisters.
Of course.
I could have make my own film. I did a film, I did a couple of projects alone. One film that I did with Sandrine, Témoignage, Testimony, and the TV show that I did, and I really missed on it throughout the process. I said, I want Get to come because I really want to work with her and to have our emotional storm, dreaming, beautiful time together. So I can't say it's not working for me or something is not, it's just a bless, that's it.
Yeah, really. I think too, it's a bless. If you have chemistry, so it will work. There will be a lots of arguing, but I think that it's brainstorming, it's something good. If you have 2 opinions and finally you took the 3rd option, so it will be better than both options.
You really have to listen. You really have to listen and to observe and to let yourself be influenced by your partner and be able to influence your partner. And it's not about to put the ego on the side. No, you have to let your ego act upon it, and you have to have this going on. But you must be a good listener. Otherwise, it's useless.
We unfortunately have to wrap up, but I'd like to thank Shlomi, Menashe, and Sharon for being here. I'd like to thank the Israeli Consulate in Toronto and Size Doesn't Matter for organizing this. And I hope that all of you will pick up our postcards with the times for when the movies are playing this week. Get, The Trial of Vivian M. Salem, and The Farewell Party. Both are wonderful, and I see a bright future for them.
Thanks to Rebecca and Lilit.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Great.
And I just wanted to say thank you very much, Dean Shlomi, Menashe, and Sharon. You were really a wonderful treat to have at this festival, and I hope everyone here will go out and see the films. I'll give you a quick reminder, and then I'll tell you a few housekeeping notes. So there is a screening of Get. The first one, the premiere tonight at 9. There's one tomorrow at 3:45 p.m. and it's followed also by a discussion that goes a little bit more in depth surrounding the issues in the film. Saturday, this coming Saturday at 9 p.m. And then the Farewell Party screens has 2 more screenings that opened last night. It screens on Tuesday at 1:45 tomorrow, and Sunday, this coming Sunday at 9:15. So please make sure you have a chance to check that out. And for those of you watching at home, watch for it in theaters, hopefully near you. And also, I just want to let you all know that there will be an opportunity to see this discussion again. We're just figuring out the logistics of it, but if anyone is very interested, for now, I can give you the email address, info@sizesandmatter.com. And furthermore, I invite you all, there's food. Please go eat the food. Kosher food has arrived. And you can mix and mingle for another 15-20 minutes or so with the talent. So thank you again for coming, and thank you also for being here.